Galactic sentient broadcast. Target, planet Earth. Begin invasion in 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, invaders. My name is Scott. This is Book Invasion. I'm going to do a vlog-style Q&A answer session because I don't have a lot of time to film at home, and I have a lot of questions. That's one thing I didn't anticipate from doing a Q&A is spending all the time it takes to film all of your answers. So I'm going to try to do this in segments, maybe. Maybe I can knock them out piece by piece. So right now I'm just running some errands in the car. Thought I would flip on the camera and let's get to it. So thank you, everyone. First of all, thanks everyone for subscribing. Thanks everyone for watching all of my goofy, unenergetic book review videos. And I hope you're all enjoying them immensely. Thanks so much for watching and supporting my channel, and I hope it grows and grows more and more. When this whole quarantine thing is over, hopefully I can do more discussion videos, because I think that's kind of what I want to gear more of my channel towards. So I hope all of your quarantines are going well. Thanks for watching. Let me read off some questions as much as I can while I'm at a stoplight. The first question is from Joey Fitzgerald Carter. It says, is reaching this number what you expected it to be? What's your favorite part of Booktube and your favorite types of videos to film? So I think I had expected, my initial goal was to hit, I planned out and I made a spreadsheet of my subscriber growth versus like the amount of days for each milestone. I had a whole spreadsheet. It took me 100 days exactly to hit 100 subscribers because I took like a screenshot on my phone or something of my stats. And so I was like, okay, if it takes me this long to get 100, and then I mapped out how long it took me to get to 200, 300, 400, 500. And there was maybe 50 or so, 60 days between each milestone. And so I kind of mapped it out, and there was a jump in subscribers at a point. And so I knew I may have not hit 1K by a year or so. But anyway, I had thought I would have more time to film videos, which I don't. I thought I would have more time to do long-form discussion videos, which I can't really sit down and map and script and stuff. It's more of just off-the-cuff book reviews. So anyway, getting off topic. But yeah, I think I expected to be around this. I think I'm in a comfortable position, and I think I'm growing at a okay pace, taking into consideration the type of videos that I do. Obviously, most of it's book reviews, single book reviews, and I've managed to pull in this many subscribers, which I think is fantastic. With the content that I have. Like, I see other channels growing faster at a more rapid pace, but they're spitting out more videos and they're doing more general staple and other more popular stuff that the people want, I suppose, so they can get more subscribers, so on and so forth. Plus, me, I'm not exactly a high majority of the demographic, so it's to be expected that I won't grow as fast as someone else. What's my favorite part of Booktube? I think just portraying your passion for the stuff that you read, having that type of outlets, and seeing a response on it. You don't always, most of the people in the community don't always have that place to just spout about the things that they like and enjoy. So that's kind of my favorite part, is just to produce something that is essentially bigger than myself. You know, it's not just something I'm doing for my friends and stuff. It's something I'm doing for the reading community as a whole, which is all bigger, a part of something larger than just you. You know, you don't really hear about the parts of Booktube where people picked up a book based on your video, or somebody discovered something new and has a new fan based on something. You don't really hear about that often. But we all kind of know it's out there somewhere, and that's kind of why we do it, whether we hear about it or not. My favorite types of videos to film are book reviews. I feel like they have a strong longevity. I feel like they can pull in, they can pull in subscribers who may not know that you exist, I guess. I feel like it casts a wider net of viewers for people looking for a specific book. And so having that kind of mindset to capture, one or two of those people to say, here's a really obscure or niche type book that I enjoyed or that I'm thinking about. Here's some person who did a review on it. Let's look at his other stuff. It's all kind of in the same vein, so then somebody wants to subscribe to you. That's awesome. All right. Let me go up to the next stoplight. The next question is from Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book. She has quite some loaded questions. What non-bookish hobbies do you have? Do you do any sports? What are your top 10 or top 5 favorite movies and favorite bands? Holy macaroni. I don't do any sports. I don't play any sports. I haven't. I did track in high school, and then I was in marching band. But I haven't done. I was in soccer in middle school, but not really. I enjoy watching football. I'm not a huge sports fan kind of guy. What are your top 5 favorite movies or top 10? So I'll give you some movies that I really love that are kind of sleeper indie hits that really nobody's going to ever heard of, and they're not even streaming on Netflix. They were at one time. Anyway, there's a movie called I Am Not a Hipster, an indie film about kind of a musician guy who had a breakthrough album come out, and then something happens with his parents, and it's about his family and how he copes with that, being kind of self-destructive. It's a really well-put indie film called I Am Not a Hipster. That's one of my favorites. Another one is called The History of Future Folk, which is just a feel-good. It's got action, comedy, romance, sci-fi, whatever, about 2 people who try to invade Earth, but they get captivated by Earth's music, and so they start a future folk band, and they play at some pubs and bars around town, and then one of the guys has a love interest of a human, but he hasn't told her that he's from another planet. It's all just absolutely ridiculous to try to explain this, but it's called The History of Future Folk. I love that movie so much. That's 2. Number 3 would probably be Office Space, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Big Lebowski, and Step Brothers. The Jack Black Mos Def film called Be Kind Rewind, I really love. There's a movie with Anna Kendrick, one of her earlier movies called Rocket Science, which is an amazing indie flick, and her role in that, she plays a debate queen, and the lines she has to spit out are crazy. There's some Coherence was a good one. That's a movie about a comet that flies over top of a house, and then time skews and things like that, and it's only 20% of that whole film is actually scripted. The rest of it is just people playing off of each other, which works really well. Coherence was a good one. I don't know, there's a lot of them. Favorite bands, golly gosh. So I used to be a big music guy. I had a music blog for a long time. I worked at a record store and was a product manager at a record store for a long time. So between 2003 and 2006 or so was my time in the record store, and so there's a lot of music that came out that I have in my catalog that I've absorbed. And I still keep up on kind of the happenings around some of the music scenes. Not all of them. Favorite bands, though, anyway, I would say, and these are kind of early albums from these bands, so don't give me crap about them. So I would say Finger 11 Their first like 3 albums were absolutely fantastic, and I listened to those nonstop. Early Finger 11 was great. Not like the Paralyzer Finger 11, that was kind of garbage. But their early stuff where they were doing very kind of more rocky things. A band out of California called Boy Hits Car. They are absolutely amazing. They've dubbed themselves Lovecore, and the guy plays like an acoustic 12-string over top of these hard, heavy beats in the background, and he sings kind of more songs that are angry. They sound angry, but they have positive messages, which is fantastic. Boy Hits Car is amazing. Dead Letter Circus from Australia. They are like the prog rockish, and Carnivool is another one from Australia. They're like the Australian version of Tool. They're named Carnivool with a V. They're fantastic. They do a bunch of like crazy time signature stuff. So if you like that, check them out. Classics that are always in my collection. I think a band called Push Monkey is great. I don't think they're around anymore. Via Coma is another band that put out like 2 albums that were more like piano rock, not like Coldplay or The Fray. It was more like cerebral-ish stuff. Via Coma was fantastic. Nine Inch Nails, Tool, Foo Fighters, those kind of things. The staples, of course. And yeah, there are a few bands, and I have a whole Spotify list of stuff that's new and more recent. So there's a few bands that I have not in the rock genre that I have not heard of. Starset, I think, is the top one now that I still listen to all 3 of their albums all the time. All right, we'll do one more question, then I gotta go run an errand. I gotta drop some toys off at Goodwill because I think they're still taking donations. Number 3, this is from Shelby at Read and Find Out. Let's see, what books would you use to represent you as a person? Yeah, right. So the book that I really got into a whole lot pre-Booktube was Ready Player One. I had that on my radar before release. I had done they had a contest, a scavenger hunt contest during the book was out. I read that book like 2 or 3 times. I saw Ernest Cline speak at a college here about the book because they were doing it at the college course. They were studying that text or using it for one of their reading classes, so he was there to talk about it. So I met him. That was amazing. My parents lived in New Mexico where they had done they buried all the Atari cartridges, and so I didn't go there, but I really wanted to. That's where Ernest is in that film where they dug up that treasure. Anyway, Ready Player One was really a book that captured my reading brain 100%. It was amazing. Another book that would represent me, I would say, is Senlin Ascends. If you have not heard about that book, I've raved about it all the time. It's more of an underdog tale of adventure and intrigue and putting your merit to the test, your determination for kind of capturing and rescuing the things that you love. It's kind of, the basic thing is it's Mario going into this castle / the Tower of Babel to rescue his princess, which is Maria. So Senlin goes on a honeymoon vacation to the Tower of Babel with his wife Maria. Maria gets lost. So now you're kind of at the bottom of this tower looking for your wife, and you go up these levels and levels and levels. So that's something I hadn't thought about that before, but it's kind of like a Mario game meets Alice in Wonderland, because there's twisted things, meets like a Jim Henson / Tim Burton kind of vibe, with then you get into airship battles. It's a really dynamically diverse story, which I loved. Another one I thought of was The Hike by Drew McGarry. The Hike was another story like that, where it's this fantastical, crazy quest / Gulliver's Travels / another little bit of Alice in Wonderland crazy creatures. There's a foul-mouthed crab. There's a giant that's going to eat the guy, and it's kind of beyond explanation. But at the end of the book, the ending of that book really puts it to you. Another one is The Humans by Matt Haig. I don't think I did a review on that book, but that book is a really cool sci-fi book with a lot of heart. The way that Matt Haig writes was really awesome. And then the last one I thought of was Kings of the Wild, which is just an awesome book about fantasy book about a band of not vigilantes, but a band of warriors who are getting the band back together on another quest. Like I like those quest stories, but I don't like it to be very too fantasy-ish. Kings of the Wild had just enough lighthearted fun and just enough action, just enough fantasy elements with creatures and owlbears and wyverns and such. So those are the 4 or 5 books that I feel like that would represent me as a person. Please go check them out. Which is weird because looking at those, there's not a whole lot of deep sci-fi. Well, I guess Ready Player One was sci-fi. Anyway, that's all I got for now. I got to go do some stuff. I will check back in with you later. Thank you. Bye. All right, that's done. Let's do a couple more if I can while I go on to my next task. Number 4, this is from Dan at Geekapron Vlogs. He asks, do you work? And if so, what do you do? What is your best book you have read to date? Yeah, well, wow. So yes, I do work. I work full-time. I am a business analyst for a software company, and what we do is we work with state agencies and state departments like Department of Health or Department of Education. We work with them to use our software to help them keep track of their funding and their processes for providing meals for their schools. So within a state, there's districts and sites and sponsors. Sponsors are essentially the schools themselves. And the schools need to feed the kids. How do they feed the kids? Well, we all know that they get the food in the cafeteria, yada yada. How do they get the money to pay for that food? Where does that food come from? That's what our software does. It tracks the food distribution, it tracks the claiming. They calculate for each site how many meals they're serving per kid. Each site's school needs to put in what hours of operation they have, what their max number of meals are, if they're at risk, if they're in a severe need. They need to have an application for each place that they fill out every year. It's all just a bunch of fun stuff, as you can imagine, if you're not falling asleep already. So my role as a business analyst is to work with the states directly to gather all of their requirements, to implement our software, and also another 70% of it is just doing general support for them. If they have a problem, if they need something changed, that's what I do. It's a blast. My background is more of in like tech supports and then implementation, and now business analyst is like the next stage above that. So it's a bunch of tech stuff, a bunch of nonsense. So what is my favorite book that I have read to date? Oh, brother. It flops, so earlier I spoke about Ready Player One. Let's go over my top books off the cuff. The Humans by Matt Haig. Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. Trust me, guys, just read it. Just read Hollow Kingdom, please. Settlement of Sins was fantastic. Kings of the Wild was fantastic. Wool by Hugh Howey. The Hike by Drew McGarry. They each have their own elements of greatness. Classics, I haven't read a lot of classics. There's a great space operas like the Leviathan Wakes and Ender's Game. Name of the Winds, yada yada. I don't know. The one that I think I've Yeah, I don't know. Red Rising. Anyway, alright. Don't crash. This one is from Connor Stompanato. I think that's right. What is the hardest part about making videos? Well, I think the hardest part is timing them, finding a time to record, and finding a quiet place to do it. Now that we're all quarantined at home, it's not likely that I'm going to have a chance to film in my office ever again for a while. And maybe I can. I just got to work out the compromises between family obligations and what's going to have to give for me to be able to sit in front of a camera for a while and talk to you guys. Editing is I can do in the evenings, at nights, late, but I can maybe record videos at nights. I don't know. Maybe I can start doing that. But I think that's the hardest part, is just I want to make a lot more content more quickly, and I want that content to be a little bit deeper. I want to have more discussions and things, but I can't. Like I can read a book and I can get through a book and I can find 10 or 15 minutes to sit down and talk about it and edit it. That I think comes easier for me than trying to formulate some type of discussion video where I don't just am all scatterbrained and yada yada. This next one is from Jen from Remembered Reads. Let's see. What's the weirdest book you have read? Was it a good weird or a bad weird? I've been wanting to get into more of the bizarro world of books. I think that some of those can be kind of funny and just off-the-wall bonkers. And sometimes I need that just to cleanse my reading brain from hard sci-fi or fantasy stuff. Like I just want something that's a whole lot of WTF with some snarky laughs and brutal, gross, weird type of things. You know, it's just brain garbage. Not to diminish the merits of bizarro fiction, but I think like one of the weirdest ones that I have read was kind of this literary thing called The Minotaur Takes a Cigarette Break, which was about a minotaur who works at a diner, and he's just kind of screwing things up. He's down in the dumps about his life as a minotaur. He can't talk, and his speech is kind of weird. I listened to the audiobook of this a long time ago, and the audiobook of it, the narrator does a good minotaur impression, so to speak. And he's like has a crush on a girl that he likes. He lives in a trailer, and then it's just very weird, but it's also kind of like one of those kind of literary meaning of life books. That was odd. The other one that I read, obviously, would be Cannibal Nuns from Outer Space by Duncan P. Bradshaw. That was a readathon I had done with a couple other booktubers. It's weird just in that it's more of the cheesy B-movie horror put to a book. I mean, I loved it because in the hardcover book, there's like a previews in the front. It has like an image, and then it gives you like a few paragraph of synopsis of what that quote-unquote film is about. And it was really funny. It had deleted scenes. It kind of had a commentary section at the back. It had a soundtrack. It also had like credits in the back of like different people who didn't even have part in the book, just like credits of the sound engineer and credits for the whoever else knows what. So I thought the presentation of that book was really great on the hardcover edition. It was weird in a way where there's cannibals. They're cannibal nuns. They eat people and they came from outer space. And it's up to some hapless drunkard priest to get rid of them. And it was just a good time. Loved it. This next question is from Jordan from Book Solid. Have you ever wanted to write a book yourself? And even if not, if you had to come up with a plot for a book, what would it be? Yes, I curse myself on the frequent when I'm looking on Twitter or something on the writing community and seeing everybody writing their books talking about their work in progress and all of their fun characters, and I was like, man, I just gotta sit down and write something. Like, I need to write it. I gotta write something. So the plot for my ideal book, which I should not say because somebody's gonna steal it and write their own novel about it, but I wanted it to be, I kind of wanted some unlikely hero, or, I mean, not the chosen one, but like a normal guy who gets thrown into and a world uncovered to him that was kind of right under the surface the whole time. Kind of a book like that where somebody is just thrown into some circumstances where things come to light about the ordinary world that he's been living in. I like those kind of tales where that, when you're going around your day and you drive by like a house, a shadowy house or something, and you think nothing of it, maybe underneath that house is an elevator that goes into like an underground city where people are running the world unbeknownst to you. Just stuff like that. Like when I'm out in the desert out here, I think about all of the open land in the deserts, and you would see like a shimmer of the sun reflecting on a structure or building over there on the mountains, and you're like, what is that? Where did that come from, and why is it there, and who is there, and what are they doing? You don't see any like electricity running to the place. Or like those decrepit houses and those type of weird things, those anomalies. I feel like I want to explore stuff like that, and then maybe throw in some sci-fi elements, of course, like a Black Mirror feeling of technology gone wrong, or the threat of technology upon society, something like that. I'll get there eventually. I have some, maybe like 1 page of comments, notes, I don't know, that I'll get to. So maybe it'll happen. Maybe I'll do NaNoWriMo it's just a matter of, so the time that I have, the spare time that I have is either taken up by like, okay, I need to actually read something so that I can have something to review, or if I have read something, it's a matter of sitting down to put notes together for a review, or filming a review, or it's reading, or something, or like, for now it's working out and exercising and stuff. Hashtag struggles. I'm almost to my next stop. So the next questions are from Final Blow Joe. Thanks for watching, Joe. Thanks for the questions. This says, do you have any unusual or less common hobbies? If so, which ones? Name a book that you really enjoyed despite not fully understanding it. And where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what will you be doing? I don't know. I have, my hobbies are just kind of like, and they're really non-existent now, but they were just playing guitar. I started whittling for a while. Like I really wanted to do something with my hands after I kind of stopped playing guitar, and I didn't have time to really sit down and jam and stuff because the kids, and they go in and mess with my amps whenever I start playing. So I wanted to make something with my hands, so I started whittling. I got a whittling kit with some wood and a pack of these little carving knives. And so I whittled a little gnome and a little astronaut guy and a dog. They came out pretty good for my first try. Like I had no experience in it. I was just like, I want to make this wood into something. I kind of visualized it and just went at it. So that's kind of a weird thing that I just kind of wanted to do. I haven't done it for a long time, which goes back to my non-existent spare time. Geocaching is another one, which I used to do. It's just a fun thing to do outside. It doesn't cost anything. You can download a geocaching app, and they're all over the place, even by your neighborhood. They're not geocaches that you have to go out on an expedition to find. They're so saturated throughout any neighborhood. I would be surprised if you were to find to get into geocaching and not find something that's within 30 minutes from where you live. And so I was big on that early. Like I did it, my parents did it, my sister did it. There's geo coins that you can pick up, and these geo coins have a tracking ID on it. You plug in the ID on the website, you can see all of the geocaches that this coin had gone to. So you pick up the coin, it puts it in your inventory, and then if I were to travel, or I can drop it off into some other place in my own neighborhood, that coin then kind of goes and carries on throughout its travels. So geocaching is pretty fun. It's just a fun thing to do now that my kids are older. We kind of do it together. And in the geocache containers, there's like little junk treasures, like a plastic ring or coins or guitar pick or just a bouncy ball or something. So we go out with the kids and we go to find treasure. We go treasure hunting. I find geocaches that may have like a little crappy old McDonald's toy or some kind of plastic thing in it. And they like it. It's enjoyable. So I guess that's maybe less common. Name a book you really enjoyed despite not fully understanding it. I don't know. I don't know. Like there maybe have been some sci-fi books that I hadn't understand the mathematics behind, or this, I don't know. Like if something is philosophically I don't understand it, then I'm not going to like that kind of book. But if something is like scientifically I don't understand it, that stuff I can get past and focused on the character and the plot. I don't need to understand the science of things. But I don't know. I don't know if there's something that I had really enjoyed without. I'm sure there's elements of some books that I'm sure I haven't understood while I enjoyed the book. I don't know of any offhand at the moment. Where do I see myself in 5 years, and what will you be doing? I don't know. Maybe I will probably... I don't know. Celebrating my 20K Booktube subscriber special. Hopefully I'll have a lot more time to record videos. My kids will be older. Maybe I won't live in such a hot, blistering place. Right now it's 103 degrees. Maybe I'll live in a place with grass and trees again. And I will probably have a cushier job and be in charge of some type of department or some type of group, I hope. I don't know. But yeah, I got a few more questions. I'll get to them on my next errand or whatnot. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.